The book of St. Matthew, chapter 17 and verse 1. And 6 days later, Yahawashi took with him Peter and the brothers James and John and led them up a high mountain where they were alone. Verse 2. As they looked on, a change came over Yahawashi. His face was shining like the sun, and his clothes were dazzling white. First and foremost, I want to give our honor, our glory, our praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahawah. Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Rekah HaKodash. I want to give double honors to our apostles, our bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. I want to give double honors to the high priest elders that taught those men. Salutations to you brothers that present your bodies as a living sacrifice, pushing the gospel of the Lord Yahawah. Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, through the four corners of the earth. And to you Akim and Akwathian, to you I say Shalom. And again, it's Brother Bomb and Lock out of Great Millstone Camp, Austin, coming at you with a quick lesson. And Salakia. And this lesson is going to deal around this video that I was watching earlier with Elder Manata Zakba out of GMS, South Carolina. And he was doing a video on about the Israelite camp that was out prophesying in the hood, and rapid gunfire took place. This video is not about the rapid fire that took place, but it was about the content in which what those Israelites were speaking of. And they were speaking about the law, the law, the law. And we know you can't be saved by the law. Nevertheless, we can't even keep all 613 commandments of the law here in America, Babylon the Great, because what? We're not a sovereign nation here. We're still under the hands of Esau Edom, the so-called self-professed white man, and he's an enemy to Israel. And here to you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's why I'm reading out of the book of St. Matthew, chapter 17 and verse 17, 1, 2, and we're going to jump down to verse 5. But I'm going to read St. Matthew 17 and verse 2 again. And it said, as they looked on, a change came over Yahawashi. His face was shining like the sun. And we're going to look up this word sun in the etymology online. I already got it queued. We went to Etymon online and it got the sun as a heavenly body or planet. And what Peter them saw, John and what Peter, who was that? James and John, what they saw, what Hamashiach Yahawashi, they seen him in his heavenly body, man. That's exactly what the sun is when it was referencing this body. They seen him in his glory, pretty much. Let's read this again. As they looked on, a change came over Yahawashi. His face was shining like the sun. And again, that sun, it says what? A heavenly body. The sun as a heavenly body. And his clothes were dazzling white. It means that he was right in his purity, man, because Hamashiach Yahawashi came, he didn't sin in that body. Because what? He was in his God-like state, even though he walked the earth as a man. And we're going to jump down to verse 5. And while he was talking, and right here, I should have just read it all, but this was Peter. While Peter was talking, a shining cloud came over them, and a voice, Yahweh's voice, from the cloud said, this is my own dear son, with whom I, Yahawah, am pleased. Listen to him. So we're to what? We're to listen to the words of the Lord, Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi, man. Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi. Hamashiach Yahawashi is who we should be what? Walking. You know, our faith and everything else should be built around Hamashiach Yahawashi in these last days. Now, do we try to keep some of the laws, statutes, commandments? Yes, we try to keep it to the best of our abilities here in America, Babylon the Great, man. We can keep the Sabbath. We can keep from eating abominable foods. We can keep from practicing a filthy lifestyle. But there are a lot of commandments that we can't keep. So we practice the righteous acts of the Most High, Yahawah Ba'ashem Yahawashi, while we're here in this captivity. Which leads us, we're going to go to the book of Romans. And this is also in the Good News Translation. Romans chapter 9, and we're going to go down to verse 30. And it says right here, the Israel and the gospel. You know, that's just, you know, the heading. And it reads Romans 9 and 30. So we say that the Gentiles, you know, because Paul went and spoke to the what? The circumcised and the uncircumcised Israelites, because we were scattered through the four corners of the earth and pursuing the what? Deuteronomy 28:64. So verse 30 again. So we say the Gentiles The uncircumcised who were not trying to put themselves right with the Most High were put right with him through faith. So, and many of us, we were uncircumcised in the heart, man. And when we talk about the heart and the mind, but eventually what? We came in and we started believing on Hamashiach Yahawashi, who the word ignorantly calls Jesus the Christ today, man. So we made ourselves right with Hamashiach Yahawashi. With the circumcision, they was like, oh no, we believe in the law, which leads us to this video, which I'm about to show. Let's go listen to this video. And what you're going to hear is these guys, all they talking about is the law. And they're not mentioning Hamashiach Yahawashi's name at all. So let's just listen to this video. It's going to be real short and quick.
When you go to the hood right here.
See, the laws are what you're supposed to keep.
Right.
That's the thing. Yeah, you have grace to get yourself together. But the book, all it says is laws. Do these laws. Do these laws. Just imagine, like I say, if we kept the one Sabbath.
See, that's that rapid fire. That was the point right there in this video. So let's read verse 31. This is Romans 9:31. It said, while God's people who were seeking the law, just like that group, all they was talking about is the law. Hey, man, you got to have faith in Hamashiach Yahawashi. He ultimately gave his life upon that cross, man, for the sins of Israel, for the sins of Yasharallah. Let's read it again. Romans 9:31. While God's people who were seeking the law that would put them right with power did not find it, because you can't keep the law, all the law, statutes, commandments here in America, Babylon the Great. See, that's why they can't find it. In verse 32. And why not? Because they did not depend on faith. You got to have faith in Hamashiach Yahawashi. That's why you didn't hear them guys talking about Yahawashi. All they was talking about was the law. Verse 32 again. And why not? Because they did not depend on faith, but on what they did. See, you can't do nothing. You can't keep all 613 commandments, man. And so they stumbled over the stumbling stone. And Hamashiach Yahawashi is that stumbling stone. Verse 33, that the scriptures speak of. Look, I place in Zion a stone, Yahawashi Mashiach, that will make people stumble. And that name alone make people stumble. Because what? 2/3 of the Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, the uncircumcision of the day, they stuck on Jesus the Christ. See, when we say Hamashiach Yahawashi, they stumble over that stone. They stumble over that rock, Salakia. A rock that will make them fall. But whoever believes in him, Yahawashi, will not be disappointed. And we know that the hopeful elect and the hopeful 1/3, we know that Hamashiach Yahawashi is our only way out. We know it's the only way out. We try to keep these laws, statutes, commandments to the best of our abilities. The ones that we can keep, we try to perfect those. And even then, we're not perfected. But we try to the best of our abilities, man. But most importantly, we keep the name of the Lord Yahawah, Yahawashi on our tongues, man, because we know ultimately Hamashiach Yahawashi is that what? Is that rock in which what we're gonna have to depend on to keep us from these said perils, which Jeremiah 30:7, Jacob's trouble, when Yahawah Bashem Yahawashi gonna put a spirit upon us not to take that MOT to the beat. Yahawah Bashem Yahawashi is not gonna get some of the brothers that are younger in the truth that be drafted into Esau's war, in this third world's war, man. So we know that we depend on a rock, Hamashiach Yahawashi, where the other people, the other nations, IUIC in that group in the red, and you got other Israelite groups that are Old Testament Israelites, they all gonna be talking about the law. Hamashiach Yahawashi is the way. Hamashiach Yahawashi is the way, and that's the only way that you're gonna receive salvation. And salvation is what? It's just being delivered from the said perils that are coming on the planet Earth today. So I pray this lesson has been edifying. I want to give all honor, all glory, all praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Rekahakwadash. I want to give double honors to our apostles, our bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. I want to give double honors to the high priest elders that taught those men. Salutations to you brothers that are presenting your bodies as a living sacrifice, pushing the gospel of the Lord, Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, through the four corners of the earth. And to you, Akim and Akwathian, to you I say Shalom.